The list. I came home that Tuesday drained, body aching from chasing permits all day. The first thing I noticed wasn't the quiet or the spotless house. It was the envelope on our bed, centered perfectly like some kind of business memo. It read bedroom rules in Jessica's handwriting. At first I thought it was a joke. Maybe a playful note, something to spice things up. It wasn't. Effective immediately, it read, followed by 15 demands about our sex life. Not suggestions. Not ideas. Rules. Tuesday and Saturday nights only. 3 hours written notice. Mandatory hygiene routines. Approved positions. Weekly performance reviews. It read like corporate policy, like I was applying for intimacy instead of being married. And this came from the same woman who once dragged me into a laundry room at a family reunion because we couldn't keep our hands off each other. I didn't say anything that night. Not at dinner. Not when she glanced at me waiting for a reaction. I needed time to understand what was happening to my marriage, because something told me, this wasn't really about rules at all. It was about control. And what I found out next confirmed my worst fears. Cracks in the foundation. I kept the list in my pocket, ate dinner like everything was normal. Jessica was tense, tapping her nails against her glass, waiting for me to say something. I didn't. She finally cracked. Did you see what I left for you? I nodded. Yeah. The list of demands. She flinched. They're not demands. They're boundaries. But I wasn't buying it. Not after the last few months. She'd been reorganizing my life piece by piece, changing my clothes, my schedule, even installing a tracking app on my phone. She called it safety. I called it surveillance. I kept my tone calm. Where did this come from, Jess? Married people don't write intimacy policies. She straightened up, quoting her friend Vanessa and something called femword.com. Most problems stem from men not respecting boundaries, she said, her voice robotic, like she'd memorized a script. That night, I sat in my home office while she laughed on FaceTime with Vanessa and their friends. I could hear them talking about husbands like we were clueless children, like all we needed was the illusion of affection and the promise of sex. Then I heard Jessica's voice. I implemented the new rule system today. Laughter erupted on the call. My hand clenched into a fist. This wasn't about marriage anymore. This was a game. A strategy. And I was the target. Game plan. The next morning I needed answers, real ones. I drove across town and met my buddy Dave at a diner. His wife Rachel used to be close with Jessica, before Vanessa entered the picture. Dave listened as I laid everything out, the rules, the control, the weird behavior. Then he leaned in. Rachel thinks she's setting you up. I froze. She overheard Jessica and Vanessa in the bathroom at a dinner party, Dave said quietly. Jessica was talking about laying the groundwork for something big. Vanessa was coaching her on how to document things, to maximize the settlement. Settlement. Divorce. It hit me like a freight train. The list wasn't the beginning. It was just another step in a calculated takedown. A financial strategy. A trap. Dave looked grim. Rachel says this is a known pattern in that group. They isolate the guy, control his finances, then set up situations that make him look unstable or abusive, just in case they want to leave. By the time it happens, the guy looks like the problem. I left that diner with a knot in my stomach. This wasn't paranoia anymore. This was war. And I had to know just how far she was willing to go. The laptop. That afternoon I told Jessica to enjoy a spa day, my treat. She thought I was softening. That I was starting to fold. While she was gone, I did something I'd never done before. I opened her laptop. I know how that sounds. But after what Dave told me, and after hearing her own words, I had to know the truth. It didn't take long. A document called Important Info sat right on her desktop. Inside. Every password. Every account. Classic Jessica. Meticulous when it came to appearances, careless with what mattered most. And what I found? She consulted a divorce lawyer, 3 months ago. She had spreadsheets of my assets, alimony projections, even a timeline for dependency reversal, whatever that meant. There were messages with Vanessa, bragging about breaking me in the bedroom, and documenting emotional abuse just in case. Fake abuse. There were files labeled Mark's abusive behaviors, listing absurd lies like, used a loud tone during curtain argument. Which was really her dropping $2,800 on a designer couch without telling me. She was rewriting history. Twisting our normal disagreements into patterns of control and aggression. Creating a record that painted me as a monster. And the worst part? She had already siphoned nearly $18,000 from our joint account, slowly, methodically, over the past year. My hands shook as I took screenshots. Copied documents. Sent them to myself and my attorney friend Ryan. Because when Jessica walked back in that house, I would be ready. The confrontation. That evening, I took her to Morton's, her favorite restaurant. The kind of place she loved to post about online. She dressed like she was celebrating something. Smiling. Confident. Completely unaware of what was coming. We sat in a quiet booth tucked away from the crowd. She placed her phone on the table, screen lit up with her checklist app. I could see the updated version of her bedroom rules. She really thought I was going to negotiate. Before we talk about your list, I said, I want to ask you something. What do you hope to achieve with all this? She gave me a rehearsed answer about structure and boundaries. About clarity. I nodded slowly. And are you planning to follow any rules yourself? Or is this just about controlling me? She looked startled. It's about setting expectations. No, I said. It's about power. About dominance. And then I showed her everything. Screenshots. Messages. The financial spreadsheets. The lawyer consult. The fake abuse file. Every lie, every tactic, every manipulation. Her face went pale. Her voice cracked. You violated my privacy. I stayed calm. You violated our marriage. I laid out my terms. Cut off Vanessa, delete the toxic groups, attend counseling, or sign the divorce papers I brought with me. Tears welled up. She begged. She tried seduction. She even threatened, said no one would believe me if she claimed abuse. I hit record. Because I was done playing defense. The choice was hers. Wife or predator. Partner or parasite. And she had one day to decide. Chapter 6, After the Fall. The next morning I returned home to pack more of my things. Jessica looked wrecked, still in last night's clothes, eyes red from crying. Please, she whispered. I'll do anything. So I handed her the phone. Open her Facebook group. Queen's controlling the castle. You're going to post exactly what I say, I told her. At first she resisted. Then she posted the confession, how she'd followed toxic advice, plotted control, planned fake abuse claims, and nearly destroyed her marriage. The post exploded. Vanessa called within minutes. Delete it. Now, she screamed. I leaned in on speaker. Game over, Vanessa. I know everything. And I'm not the only one. Jessica sat frozen on the couch as messages poured in. Shocked friends, furious members, confused followers. The mask had fallen. I gave her terms. Deactivate her profile, get a real job, commit to counseling, and write a full confession with a recovery plan. And to my surprise, she did. The woman who once treated me like a paycheck and project, now showed up to therapy, clocked into her new receptionist job, and actually apologized, publicly and privately. It's been 6 months. She's different now. No more princess persona. No more manipulation. We're not perfect, but for the first time in years we're honest. That group? It collapsed. Other husbands came forward. Screenshots went viral. Vanessa lost her job, her house, and her little kingdom. Turns out weaponizing love has a price. And as for me, I sleep better now. Because I finally remembered the most important rule of all. Respect isn't requested. It's required.